And as always, we got to meet the people here in the room and online. So here in the room, you got a minute to say hi to two people you don't know. If you're online, send a direct message to two people you don't know. Ready? 1 minute. Go. Hi. Hello. How are you? Hi. Carter, I'm Dave. Nice to meet you.
I'm Cassandra. Here. Carter.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Then I'll be like, Okay, also each week we like to introduce you to, to our vendors and our affiliates. So who do we have in the room? I've seen a couple. Let's start right there.
Hey, everybody, I'm John with Legal Land Title, new Director of Operations over there. So if you don't know where we're at, it's pretty easy. Look out the back. We're right behind you. If you have any questions, even, title work related, not title work related, I don't know, come over. We'll help you any way we can.
All right, let's go, Christine.
Hi, I'm Christina Ferrante with 417 Home Loans. Hashtag I'm your lending lady for life. I also wanted to thank Keller Williams big time. You guys are a Springfield Black Tie sponsor. I'm on the committee and we appreciate the heck out of you guys. Hope to see some of you at the event.
And Jess.
Jess Bowman Insurance Group. We are here for all of your insurance needs, home, flood, anything, multifamily, anything like that we can help with. So if you ever have insurance questions, just reach out to us. Thanks.
And Cindy. Sorry.
Cindy with Great American Title. We got 16 locations around the Ozarks to serve you. We've got escrow closers that actually call you back with good news or bad news, if that's the case. And a title team that makes sure we're no last minute surprises at the closing table.
Awesome. And
All right. Derek Cheney, home loan expert with Mid-Missouri Bank, here for all your lending needs and questions as well. And we are right across the parking lot the other way.
so we got parking lot neighbors all over. Anybody else? Anybody online? So at the end of each team meeting, make sure you're visiting with these people who are here to help you grow your business and take care of your people. So that's one of the reasons we love having them in, and they're here to help you through everything we're going through. Also, thank you to those that were sponsors of Bold Step 7 yesterday. The biggest bold in the country, in the world. So that was a great thing. And I don't know if you all saw the recap video that came out. It was pretty cool with some of the different stuff going. So it's on the Keller Williams Springfield Facebook page and you can share it from there. But My Home Inspector Pro, Great American Title, and Arvest and First American Title from Joplin were all on there.
And Insurers of the Ozarks.
And Insurers of the Ozarks. I missed that one. Got them all. Cool. Okay, every week we talk about our MVV BRP. This week is Vision. Our vision is to be the real estate company of choice for agents and their customers / clients. I like the word clients better because that means we're in agreement to help them through things. And also with culture each week, we have a culture winner. And last week's winner was Jennifer Wolf. And this week, the winner she nominated was the entire EA group. Evan, do we get to change? EA grew. As it says on the side. Here's what she said. Evan DeShong and Austin Styles have created a team culture like no other. EA's group's core values are Christ-centered, client-focused, and grace-filled. The work family at EA group lives this out every single day. In all the jobs I've ever had in my career, EA group at Keller Williams is like no other. So let's get your phones out and we're going to text Evan and Austin and tell them congratulations on winning culture. We got 2 to text today because we're not going to text the whole group. No, that'd be a little too much texting. And you can't count that as bold contacts right now. So Austin, STY. Hi. Okay, his number, Austin, is 417-300-0512. One more time, 417-300-0512.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Mike, this is Jen. If you could hold off on texting, there's a funeral this morning, so
Oh,
not do that.
if if you're able to retract text, do that. And we'll make sure and get them recognized then. Okay, thank you, Jen, for letting us know on that. Okay, so, but yeah, it's amazing the different groups, the different cultures we have here in the Keller Williams family. So we'll definitely get them recognized later. Jim, broker moment.
We're good. Everything's perfect.
Cool. I have one thing I'm gonna throw in under broker moment. So pardon me while I change screen, because this is something I ran into last week. So I want to encourage everybody and sort of walk you through a process here. Okay, so RPR CRS. I know someone's used one, someone's used the other. This is a piece of land I just sold. This is the CRS report on it. You scroll down here, it says it is, let me find it, looking for the acreage. Let's see it. Further. 13.5 acres. Okay? Now, do we trust that?
No.
No. Okay, here's a fun tool. In CRS, if you click view larger map, it'll take you out to where you have a lot of toys you can play with. So I always recommend a survey, no matter what. New construction, new everything, I'm going to recommend it, whether they do it or not, because what they're buying is under all is the land. That's what people are buying that happens to have a house on it. But look at this. This says this piece of property is 13.5 acres. Well, let's just double check. So see this little thing over here, the ruler? I can do area. And now I can just click along this and go click, click, click. And especially anything that's not a rectangle, because what you're gonna learn here is CRS just takes the length times width and multiplies it. Look what could be wrong on this one.
There's a whole corner missing.
Yes, so if I go to here and here, and then I can work around the arc. So I go clickety, 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 and then I close it. What's it say?
11.7 acres.
11.17. Okay, so how much land is actually here? Anybody know?
As a broker, I would tell you that that's a bad idea too, but I would suggest that they get a survey because you feel like there's a discrepancy after you allow them to measure that themselves.
It's like Jim and I worked together on this, because guess what that survey came out?
12.
Let's get to the full screen size
12 and a
again.
half.
10-7.
You're closer.
What?
Yes. Let me get to back to the share. All right, computer, this is where you work.
Or not.
Why is it not sharing all of a sudden?
Says
I'm
it's
sending a
loading.
price reduction.
What's that?
I said I'm sending a price reduction.
Right, that's right now, huh? Okay. Boy, it suddenly slowed down. There, that actual survey came out at 10.59 acres.
Wow.
And look right here, there was a trailer almost encroaching.
Oh, my goodness.
So in other words, if you're not going to tell somebody, well, I think you have 4.0 radon, don't tell them I think you have 13.5 acres either. Have a professional, at least encourage them to check it out themselves. Because as you can see here, until we got a professional look at it, and we did get a price reduction, we got a cheaper price on this. But you don't know, in other words, don't rely on what we know. Never walk into a house and say, well, it smells dry. It's a moisture issue. That's been a lawsuit before. Yeah, I don't think there's any moisture in here. Well, you just gave your professional opinion. So like Jim was saying, don't, even though the cute thing I did that shows you a ballpark on it, always try and measure it. And I'll show you sometime if you want how to measure in CRS. But if you think there's a discrepancy, go to the survey, get somebody that can actually do that. Okay, going on. Stats for the week, and I don't know why we have the thing on the top, but we'll just live with it today. We're at what we're calling the new normal. One interesting thing on this again. So out of SOMO last week, there were 373 new listings. Of those, 87 went under contract. GSBOR, 226 new listings, 68 went under contract. East counties, Douglas, Howell, Shannon, Texas, Webster, Wright, 44 new listings, 7 went under contract. And North County, Cedar Day, Dallas, Hickory, Laclede, Polk, St. Clair, 21 new listings, 2 went under contract. So that doesn't mean that only two in the whole area went under contract. Two of the new listings went under. So again, if you're telling people, oh yeah, I can sell this in a week for you, you better be sure before you say that. Because we're in a different market where it's gonna sit there a while, which is actually good. You now have time to market it and help get other buyers out of it and use that to farm a neighborhood. So if you change your mindset to where I'm gonna sell this tomorrow and be at closing on Friday and just think, okay, this is a way to build my business, it will change a lot. So look at the numbers compared to last year. You can see we're getting closer and closer all the time on that. I'm sorry, that was last week.
Yeah.
And then here's last year. And the telemarketer keeps trying to call me. So we're closing the gap. So what we're seeing now is almost the new normal. It is getting to where what we're seeing now was almost what we were seeing last year. The one big thing that changed, 19 homes under contract in a week, and last year we were still running 40 or 50. So in other words, have the conversations with your people, set it up from the beginning so they understand what's going on.
But doesn't this week look stronger than last year? As far as more listings, more closings, more activity?
And this skews sometimes because we were right at the end of the month.
Okay.
So the end of the month week usually jumps up big
Okay.
and then it settles down again. So sometimes those are a little, because I don't remember if last year was, well, it was about the same. But
90.
yeah, so it's, and every week, so it's crazy, a lot of weeks, 3 of the 4 categories will go up and 1 will go down.
Mhm.
And then the next week, a different one goes up and the other 3 go down. It's just all over. So, you know, I try to tell people, we're watching this weekly to let you know what's going on. But we're just gonna market your house and pretend like it's the only one there and do everything we can for it. Okay, active listings, we went down from last week. That's the first time it went down, I think, since May. But we're still 1,400, which is 100 more than last year. But if you look on the historical, 2019, 18, 17, 16, we're still about half where we were.
Mhm.
So still, if you price it right, you will get quick activity. Okay, realtor slides for the week. Here's the schedule for the rest of the year. As we're gonna talk about fourth quarter, you're gonna realize there's not that many weeks of business left by the time you count Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these different things. So make sure you're planning your calendar appropriately and get on to all these things you want to with the board. There's an appraiser panel coming up. Destiny, are you part of that? Yay! How many of you have met Destiny? She's one of our newer agents and she's an appraiser in the area. Give her a round of applause. I just did that. But the appraiser panel is a great way to learn what an appraiser is looking at or what they have to look at, so you know how to price it before it even gets to them. So these are great, and there's a lunch with it. Is this still at the GSBR this time? Great. So it's just across the blocks from us, basically. Okay, GSBR holiday party and officer installation. This is the quote unquote Christmas party, but it's Thursday, November 30th. It's before Christmas season gets crazy. I would appreciate if you could be there because that's when they make me the official president for the year. So it's gonna be a fun time. It's at White River. There's gonna be a big, the event in the main room and then a dance party in the little fireplace room afterwards. So if you all can be there, it will be a lot of fun and a lot of KW Red would be very cool there. So that is a Thursday, right after Thanksgiving. It's that next week. And then also, I don't know if we have a slide on it yet. We don't. That next Saturday is our KW Springfield holiday party. So we'll have info on that out pretty soon also, but they're both gonna be early in the season. That way you have time to get to all the other family events, work events, all those kind of things. Upcoming education board, there's a couple different events coming up. Code of ethics class on there also. And the code of ethics class, if you take that, it's like a free fine coupon. So if you know you're gonna have a fine sometime in the year, you can go ahead and get a credit built up on that. I know, crazy. Now, maps on Flex, look what they've added now. If you use the little overlay, so up in the top left when you're looking at a map, you now have FEMA flood zones on there. So that's a new check mark that just got added. That's, again, it doesn't look like it's in flood zone. Guess what? It could be. So make sure that you're using this. I like to give my clients all the info I can so they can make the decision. Does flood zone mean it's bad? No. I own 2 properties in flood zone right now, one on a lake and one on the ocean. So you know what, if you're gonna be near the water, you're probably gonna be in flood zone. It's giving them the information, the tools so they can figure out what to do with it. I still don't understand why my condo on the 3rd floor is in flood zone. It's not gonna flood that high unless Bagnell Dam, builds up higher. So stupid stuff. But anyway, it's the government, we go by their rules. Calendar, look, we're into October. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Blue things are new agent, red is masterminds, greens are techs. You'll also see next week is the MRE Business Planning Clinic. If you have not done that, that is the best way to figure out what you need to do next year to make sure you hit your goals. It's an incredible class. We've got a guy named Chris Linguist coming in who's from the KC area. He's a KWU approved trainer. It's going to be awesome. Nicole, they need to sign up. How soon?
Yeah, so we are actually gonna be sending a text out today as well. But it is also in the internal page. You can find the link, and then I'm gonna send it here as well. So try and get registered as soon as possible. This is one of our most highly attended events that we have, or trainings every single year, because it is prepping you for next year. How many homes do I need to sell? How much money do I want to make? What do I want to do for my business goals? Everything that you need to get prepared for 2024. So we do have materials for you. There is lunch provided. So if we can get a better number of who's going to come, it is at RC Events and Conference Center, then that would help us out with numbers. So I'm going to put it here and go ahead and get registered.
And if you know non-KW people who would get help from this, they're welcome too. We max at 100. So far we're real good on that, but anybody you know, we want to bring them to this because we want to help them figure out how to stay financially afloat for next year, because it's still changing a little bit. Other things on here that are important, free headshots. So if you're a newer agent on October 19th, you can get free headshots for your business cards. Then the most important thing, October 26th, the Halloween chili cook-off, trunk or treat, and costume contest. So we have themes from the different teams. They do different Halloween costumes. There's a bunch of different chili to choose from. So that's a fun day. So mark that on your calendar. And it's for the kiddos to come in too, correct, Nicole?
Yeah, go ahead and bring your kids. I know we always have candy. Some of the other offices and stuff also pass out candy, but it's also a really fun way to try out their costumes for Halloween. Or if they have multiples, you know.
Yes. Okay, fall in love with real estate. We're still in our series here. We're on October 4th. This is the beginning of fourth quarter, and that's why we have Adam and Carrie here to talk through what you do in the fourth quarter, because that's when champions are made. Notice the other things coming up. October 10th, we go back to Tuesdays next week. Yay, it'll be a bold recap, and we will have breakfast. Breakfast for the first 35 people, so don't be late. And from now on, team meetings start at 9:27. Okay, not 9:30. Because if you say 9:30, people are wandering in by 9:45. 9:27 psychologically makes you come here at 9:27. So breakfast will be out around 9:15 next week. There's the Business Planning Clinic link. And then the Greater Heartland Summit. How many of you have wanted to go to Mega Camp, but couldn't swing it to get to Austin and all the different times? This is a mini Mega Camp here in Branson. And they've got the actual schedule out for us now. So this thing's gonna be incredible. The 29th is the welcome party. And it's all at the Hilton, the Branson Hilton right on Branson Landing. But the beginning thing is a drinks and appetizer party, but the main things start Monday. Smokey Garrett, he owns, Adam, do you know how many different market centers he owns or areas? He owns a lot, and he's a very mindful of what's going on in the region. So just like Mega Camp, they do the state of the market for the country. This is gonna be focused on our region, our 5 states. So my favorite things, the market game changers, agents who defy the downturn. The one I'm most excited about is KW Mom Bosses, where mompreneurs thrive. People who are thriving in the parent world and the pickup lines and all that, and still running a killing real estate business. So there's gonna be a panel, I believe, on that, but it's possible to do both. And it's gonna be great to hear from some people that are having great success there. Things about Command. Julia Lachey Israel is one of the best speakers I've heard from KW. She's gonna be there. Then you see the other classes on there. It's a whole day of good stuff. And Jordan Freed is going to be there. So some of you saw Jordan Freed the other day. Some of you couldn't. He's going to be the keynote speaker for Monday afternoon. And then Tuesday, it's all done by 11:30. So you still have time to come home for second Halloween and get all your costumes on and all your candy together, or your sugar and all that stuff put together. But QR code to sign up for that. And Nicole's already got the link out there in the internet world too. This is going to be great. And it's a way to get. And again, it's not just for KW people. If you know people you want us to bring, we have a few vouchers for guests. So talk to me and I'll see if we can get them in. If you know somebody from another company that needs help and is struggling and needs to see a bigger picture of things. And while you're checking your calendar, Family Reunion is in Vegas next year, February 25th and 29th, which is right after the Super Bowl, which is in Vegas. So if you want to, just go down early, go to the Super Bowl, then hang out for this. How many of you have seen the Sphere, the new thing that's there? It's this giant globe thing that is all LED lighting on the outside and on the inside. U2's like on a long performance there right now. I want to get over there and visit that thing while we're there. But this is gonna be big. I think Mandalay Bay, I think is where it's gonna be, and we've got some rooms reserved. With the QR code there will help you sign up for that. It's gonna be fantastic. And they're going to announce the main keynote speaker in the next couple weeks. They've decided to step it up, and they're spending more on family reunion than they have in the last several years because they want to make it a huge, powerful event for everybody. So more news will be coming from KW Corporate soon on that. And we go up into the interworlds with Nicole. What have you got today, Nicole?
Yeah, so I unfortunately had to reschedule my website class last week, but no worries. It is tomorrow at 11. Bring your laptops. I'm going to be going from start to finish on how to upgrade your website. If you have been with us since before they transitioned to the new ones, then I will show you how to upgrade them easily. I'm also going to help you figure out how to do an open house sign-in sheet. Remember, all of those sign-ins you get at your open house, you can just open that up on your laptop. It has all the information of the house that you are currently having an open house at. And then all of the contacts get put into your database automatically. So, or automagically, as we like to say. So please come tomorrow. It's going to be a workshop as well, and I'll be there to answer questions for the full hour.
Okay, so even if you're doing another agent's open house, inside Command, you pull up that listing and you start the open house process, and it will take anybody that signs in for you into your database, no matter whose home you're doing. Just so you know, you're supposed to do open houses within your own brokerage. So don't get them other places, because I think they've actually made a policy that you're not supposed to be doing that anymore, because I know some in the area were. But there's upgrades on this system that are going to really enhance what you're doing with your website. Anything else on that?
Nope, just see y'all tomorrow at 11. I will be recording it. However, if you come in person and you can make it, you'll definitely get the best out of that class.
Very cool. All righty. So as we were saying, and I love that we just finished Bold right as the fourth quarter starts, because does anybody remember yesterday how many contracts we've gotten written out of Bold?
I didn't hear it.
Was it? I thought it was like 400.
Yeah, I think it's close to
It
that.
was 400 something, because a lot of people start, so as Mark King says, a lot of realtors turn into pumpkins on Halloween, and you don't see them until the Easter bunny's out in Easter. And they just quit over this season because they're like, well, it's slow, it's fourth quarter, nothing's going on. David Brousseau, one of the guys who's going to be speaking at Greater Heartland Summit, talks about the first couple of years he was in real estate, and he's there at Christmas with his child opening gifts, and he's like, I have nothing in the pipeline for January. And that's a scary spot to be. And the only way to do that is what you're going to do at the beginning of right now to get ready for the end of fourth quarter and beginning of first quarter. So we've got two awesome guests today. We have Adam Grady and Carrie Wirsch. If you all will come on up. Give them a round of applause. We're going to talk some strategies and things that will really help you as you're getting ready for this fourth quarter. You all want chairs or standing or?
Fine, sure.
Okay. And kind of casual, oh, sorry, let me unshare the screen. That way we can see your all's pretty faces. Screen.
Mike, I pinned them so we can actually see them. So if you actually want to leave the slide up so that we're not duplicating, then you're good.
What do I do with the slide?
Nothing.
Just keep it. Just
Okay,
keep it.
okay, and I'll get out of the way. So do you all just want to go with some formats, what things you all look at, or we're open for however you want to do it?
Word opens up.
Yeah, and if we're gonna take 30 minutes of their time, I want them to take away something that is valuable to them. So maybe some Q&A, you know, something you can go back and implement immediately.
Okay, so I have a question first. Okay, so, and as you all, I don't know if you're familiar with their team setup. Adam does more of the listing side, Carrie does more of the buying side.
No, not more. Bye.
Oh.
No, I'm not gonna show a house.
Okay, so like Yoda, there is no buy. Okay, so they have two different sides and they can focus on those different things. So like right now, from the listing aspect, what do you do to get ready for fourth quarter?
So, lead gen, like we're beating a dead horse here, right?
But it's a good horse to beat.
Well, but it's the same stuff you guys are hearing over and over. And so what we've done is we've upped our contact rate. And how many more people can we talk to? Because it's gonna take that many more people to get the same result of what we were getting the last 60 months, but certainly last 36 months, right? And so, you know, our metrics have all changed because the market's changed. So we can't do the same thing that we were doing a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago to get the same result. So that's the biggest deal because, you know, Carrie said this morning on our morning call, like we're in a pipeline market now, right? We've got to build this massive pipeline because people aren't necessarily ready to transact right now. You know, but the problem with our industry is the follow-up, right? And you're an independent agent or you're a small team and you're trying to do all of it. You're trying to wear all these hats. And so you're in your car at a showing and I'm trying really hard to focus here, right? But there's a sign call, right? Well, if they're not ready, willing and able and ready to set an appointment right now, it's gonna be on my notepad, right? But then I'm gonna take notes later today and flip it and I'm not gonna get back to it, right? It's just, everybody does it, you know? And instead that person needs to be called, put in the CRM, followed up with regularly, right? So that when it's time to transact, that you're front of mind. And as an industry, we fail at doing that, right? So we've got to do that better now more than ever, right? And if you are still not adopting some kind of CRM, like jumping in command, right? Now is the time to do it, right? Those activities that we're doing right now are going to show up in the first quarter, right? And our pipelines are bigger than they've ever been, right? Because we're going out so much longer than we were before. Like the sense of urgency isn't there for the consumer, right? So we're having to follow up and stay in touch with these people for longer than we ever have before.
So when you're following up with them, since they're not ready to go for a while, what does the follow-up look like?
It's just so simple, Mike. Like it's embarrassing how simple it is. It's like, hey, Mike, I'm just calling to check in. How's everything going? Right? I mean, how many properties you bought in the last 5 years, right? What if the agent in that area was just calling you once a month, checking in, or every 2 weeks? Like, hey, how's everything going? Yep, we're not quite ready yet, right? Still gotta get our taxes done in January. Awesome. I just want to make sure that you know I'm here and is there anything I can do for you, right? It's just really simple. You know, people have the motivations. And if you know the motivation, you can go back and talk about it every single time, right? I know their kid's not gonna graduate till next May, right? But I'm still going to call them. How often, we talked about this in the morning call too. Carrie's like, well, they're not ready to buy until January, and then you call them last weekend and they already bought, right? This old adage, like buyers are liars. Well, they're not really liars. They just don't know, or we didn't ask the right question.
Yeah.
Right? And so you've got to stay in front of them and keep following up with them. Because you're like, oh, they said they're not gonna buy. Well, they bought last week.
Well, and it's the whole analogy of the, you know, the retail store. I tell it every single time. Everybody's heard it, right? No.
Tell it again.
So, you know, basically whenever you go in and you're going shopping, you walk in the front and the retail store and someone says, are you looking for anything specific? Nope, I'm just looking, right? Totally discount you. And then you grab something and you grab something and you grab something and then you go to the dressing room. Where's that person? They're gone. So then you're standing there. So hey, can you give me a dressing room? Well, now that's your commission, right? So that's the whole point of the pipeline business that we're in, right? It's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market, it's a skill set market, it's a pipeline market that we're in. And so everybody's so used to that instant gratification because that's basically what it's been, right? It's that just the leads are just flowing in, right? You don't have to work for it. And now you've got to build a relationship, cultivate that relationship, and keep the relationship and stay in front of them. And it is just simple follow-up. And you have to mirror and match them, right? You have to follow what their market of the moment is. And, you know, perfect example, we've got somebody that we've been out showing and they're like, ready to go, ready to go. I actually brought them in for a regroup on Thursday. And after our regroup, they said, you know what? This is our timeline now. And that may cut in half, but now it's our job to just reach out and check in. Hey, how are you guys? Hey, do you need anything? Hey, you know, I see that you're opening those searches. Do you have any questions? You know, the buyer instant notification system does the heavy lifting,
So good.
right?
So good.
Because every time I send you a property, I'm seeing that you're opening it
No, you're meaning through Flex.
through Flex.
Yeah, we're turning it on for sellers too.
We turn it on for
Okay,
sellers
Right, so
too.
we talked to you and Becky and you live in Wicklow, right? We'll turn it on for you right now, knowing you're probably not gonna go on the market till the first quarter and just say, hey, we're gonna start sending you information so you can keep tabs on the market's doing. This costs nothing, takes 10 seconds to do. You can have your VA do it, your admin do it, right? Just turn it on. And then as you see that they're opening it, it's an excuse to call.
Well, and then once you go on the market, because most agents aren't used to like houses sitting on the market for 2 weeks and 3 weeks and
Mhm.
price reductions. And what do you mean I'm signing a listing for 6 months? Yes, you're signing a listing for 6 months. That is the standard. We're not doing it for 30 days. We're not doing it for 3 months. It is 6 months. That's the normacy of the business that we're in. Our inventory right now is mirror of 2019, exact same amount of inventory by 3 properties. I'm not kidding. Like I have all of it that I follow. And so we're just back in a normal market. And so for listings, you know, we put them in our buyer instant notification system. I call it the seller instant notification system. And so that way, the flex is doing the heavy lifting too. When something goes under contract, they're calling you going, hey, I just saw that house two streets over, just went under contract. Okay, well, let's look at it. Well, it's priced low. It's priced lower than yours. So it's prompting them to reach out to us to do the price reductions.
Okay, do you all use the command side of searches also, or just mainly Flex?
Flex.
Just Flex?
So easy.
Okay, on the buyer side, if somebody's told you they're not buying forever, what does a care call or a contact with them look like? Is it,
You know, just, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. I see that you've had several properties been sent to you. Has anything changed? Is there anything that you're seeing, on your realtor.com app that I haven't sent you? Because if so, I want to know that, because they've maybe loosened up their parameters, right? Maybe they're looking at a 3-bedroom instead of a 4-bedroom and I have it too tight. Maybe they're like, well, we actually can change the school district. Maybe we can open these things. But the only reason why I would miss something is because I didn't ask the question, right? And if I'm not calling
Yeah.
and checking in, and they know why I'm calling, they know why I'm checking in. So
it's not a secret?
it's not,
We use that, has anything changed? That's a regular script
Yeah.
we use all the time.
Really?
Has anything changed? Has anything changed? We do it on the sell side and the buy side. Nope, everything's the same. Well, actually, right? I found out I'm getting a bonus, right? Or we found out Becky's pregnant, right? Like,
No.
has anything changed? It's an open-ended, right?
Yeah.
Easy conversation.
Don't start with that question. Yeah.
if you're having a hard time with the calls, read the book, Go for No. It's the simplest read ever, and it basically just tries to redirect the way that our brain thinks of a no as that we're getting closer to a yes. And
It's
it's
like a weekend read. It's really.
yeah, super, super easy, really great read, but you know, I'm on the phones, I'm lead generating, I mean, you know, I'm like calling people looking for, you know, specific properties. So a lot of my investors, I specifically call for properties.
Mhm.
And, you know, 3 of them yesterday that I called, all 3 of them were like, actually, I would sell. I'm writing contracts today on those. So I'm going after those. Those are a lot of my lead gen that I do, specific.
And right now it's it's not the market we're used to, right? And God, did we get really used to it really fast, right? But it's a motivational market, right? So who's in the market right now? You know, the death and debt.
Yep.
Divorce, downsizing, right? All those Ds, like, so they're not exciting deals right now, right? Divorces suck. You know, debt sucks, right? Like, they're not fun, but those are the ones we're going after because those are motivated people. They don't care how much inventory there is. They don't care what the interest rate is. Like, they have got to transact, right? And so we're chasing a lot of that right now.
Back on your follow-ups, when you're talking with people, what happens after you hang up the phone? What's the process there? Like, yeah, you know, walk us through what you do there.
Notes in the system.
Okay, and then,
And
so you put what you talked about, and then do you immediately set up a next time to call, or does it already do it for you?
Immediately tag it,
yeah,
set up the next time to call, the follow
we
up
have tasks
Okay,
that we put on.
in our CRM. You know, Command has them as well.
right.
You know, or, I mean, if you don't have an ISA department, you are the ISA, how are you going to get some, you know, yourself to prompt that? So it's a task, but, you know, paying attention to, you know, A buyers, B buyers, C buyers, who are they? How are they categorized? And then, you know, moving them around in the system. That's basically all I'm doing every single week is who can I make an A buyer? If they're a B buyer and they just said, okay, they're gonna wait 6 months, well, I may pass them back to the ISA and let the ISA nurture them for a couple, you know, weeks or whatever, and then re-engage back with them.
Okay.
So there's systems around all of that.
But what we're calling an A buyer has changed.
Yep.
right?
So what were you calling it? What are you calling it now?
It's class, I only talk about it.
So, you know, in the market that we were in, it was a ready, willing and able, willing to do whatever it takes. Appraisal gaps, no inspections, $50,000 over asking, right? So now it's somebody who's ready, willing and able, right? So, I mean, it's somebody who they don't have the interest rate as an objection. They are motivated. They are ready to go, you know. Bo's out with 4 buyers, I think today, and Carter, I think your day is actually full. So you've got to talk to more people to find the motivated. Like that's the only thing that we're winning at, is that we're just talking to more people.
It's just a numbers game.
It's a numbers
It's a
game.
numbers game, right? And as long as you figure that out, you'll be amazing, right? Like we can all get discouraged about what the market's doing right now, like our fall through rate's highest in 20 years. But it's just, we're not doing anything better than anybody else is doing besides talking more people.
The market's hard, but it was really hard then.
It's
It
normal
was
now.
really hard then. You know?
She pointed that out the other day on at our meeting. She's like, it sucked in 2021. She's like, I would write 5, 6 contracts for one client, right? We were running all over the place, right? We all thought it was so great in hindsight, but it wasn't when it was happening.
Right.
You know? And now the buyers at least have options, right? But do they know they have options? And are they getting frustrated by what's on Zillow so they're not doing anything? Well, that's your job. Go find the inventory, start calling agents, you know, start calling neighborhoods. It's so easy to do. And we have a guy down at the lake that's willing to buy land in a certain area. And Carrie just has him on the list. And yesterday she's like, I gotta sell something today. So she started calling and she got 2 deals. Isn't that crazy? You know, but it was just like, I know somebody's willing to buy in that area. So we start cold calling, you know, the area. And we do a lot of that. We sell it to our off market stuff. But we also use that as a script when we're talking to buyers, right? Isn't it frustrating, the inventory right now? I'm like, yes, it sucks, right? Well, why don't you come in our office and do a strategy session so we can show you some off-market options, right? You know, we're reaching out in the internal, we're reaching out in GSPR, we're calling agents that have sold property in the neighborhoods that these people want to be in, and all of them know something, right? You look like a magician when you're able to show them something off-market.
Well, and if you have your pipeline and you have your CRM or your whatever it is that you use, those buyers that were pushed out of the market because of multiple offers, they should be in.
Right.
Like I ran a search the other day from 175 to 250, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 full bath, 2-car garage. There were 32 properties. 32 in a very strategic area.
And whereas before it was maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Right.
tops.
So, you know, have you been in all those properties? Like going through all of them, can you pick out the ones that would be a fit?
But are you out telling your story, right? Are you calling the people and telling them, hey, I know we haven't spoken in a while. And they might be like, you know what, Mike, we actually bought a house in July. Oh, congratulations, right? Can I help you get any vendors, right? Is there anything you need work done, right? Just re-adopt them. And then say, great, do I have permission to stay in touch? Awesome, call them back in December. Check on them again, right? It doesn't mean that they're not your customer, or you're not their second favorite, right? They just happen to be in a situation where they bought from somebody else. You didn't lose them, right? Just stay in touch with them. Like it's a mindset shift.
Hi.
You will actually call those people and ask them,
Thank you so much. You too.
hi, Courtney. Actually, you know, call them. And I mean, I actually did one of those calls yesterday and it's painful. But what could we have done to stay in front of you so that you would have worked with us?
So you can learn where
Yeah.
something
A lot of
failed.
times it has nothing to do with us, right? It was their friend at church brought them an off market, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's that they happened to be at their grandma's house and the house next door had an open house. They walked over there, right? It was nothing really that we did or didn't do. It
Mhm.
was just they had an opportunity in front of them. And instead, as an industry, right, we're like, screw those people, right? Unfriend them on Facebook, never talk to them again, right? But that's not right.
Ego.
It's exactly right. It's their ego that gets in the way. And instead you call and check on them.
Because
right?
that agent that sold them is probably not gonna
They're
follow up.
not probably, they're not.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
not
and
calling.
you guys, at the end of the day, like I've regained so many clients. They're like, oh, we actually put a house under contract. Okay, well, perfect. You know, if something happens with that, or if you need something, please reach back out to me. It falls apart. The fall through rate right now is the highest it's ever been. Buyers have buyer remorse and they're freaking out over everything because people aren't setting expectations and people don't know how to control their clients or handle their clients, right? And so we're seeing it all the time. The fall throughs, if you guys pay attention to that back on the markets,
Yeah.
it's really high.
At no fault of the seller.
Yeah.
I know that. You know, when your buyer goes under contract and they love that house, shut their search off. Shut it off. Don't give them any more options. Don't let them look it down the street and say, oh, there's a better house that never mind, I changed my mind. It's not a thing.
I'd love to spend a few minutes to talk about that. If you guys
Yeah.
think you
Can I
did
ask
something
one
out of
question
that.
real
Go
quick?
ahead.
You A, B, and C buyers, have you increased your frequencies, like with your As, Bs, and Cs? So maybe C was once a quarter and now maybe it's once a month? And B is every 2 weeks or anything like that? Like, has that increased?
Yeah, I mean, our As were definitely touching every single week for sure. I mean, if we can hit them every single day, you know, I mean, I remember Carter like being like, whenever everything kind of like felt this little like water kind of turned a little bit, it was like, gosh, am I like bothering these people?
Right.
You know, and it literally was just, hey, I just saw 123 Main Street go on the market. Do you want to go look at it? So you just stay in touch with those, but I mean, I love the once a month. If you can hit those C buyers once a month, hey, just checking in, seeing if anything changed. Okay, perfect. Well, let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
You know, I've got this event coming up, or, you know, if you can make it something about Springfield that's going on, you know, those touches are so easy.
Send them interest rate updates,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just
Not
lots of-
necessarily calls, just
It's
even
just
just
a touch.
some sort of
Just a
way.
touch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keep in touch, okay.
And going on what you're gonna talk about on,
Is that okay? I think everybody's struggling with expectation management right now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right? It's just all about slowing the process down, and that's what we've been programmed to do the last 36 months, is speed to lead.
Mhm.
Right? How fast can you do it? How fast can you get everything done? And that's why I think the fall through rate is so high, right? Because we're not pre-qualifying the buyer. Like, we're not bringing them in for a strategy session. We're running, showing, writing, and we're not stopping and walking through the house and say, did you see that? Did you notice that? Did you see this, right? You know, check out the crawl space, crawl in the attic, right? And they're getting these inspection reports and they seem to be shocked about them. Well, it's because we didn't do a good job, right? Did you guys notice that they only replaced the roof in 2006, right? We're going on a 20-year roof here, okay? Right? So it's not a shock when it comes time for the inspection, guys. Remember, we talked about the roof before, yes, right? It's a conversation so much easier when it doesn't feel like the Band-Aid's getting ripped off. And sometimes people don't want to do it. They don't want to go show all the pitfalls. Because what if I lose the deal? Well, what if you do all this work and you lose the deal anyway, right? Now you have all this time invested and you lost the deal, right? You gotta slow the process down. We're doing, you know, more of a slow buyer process than we ever have. You want to talk about that?
I mean, I'm just trying to set better expectations up front. I mean, I'm hearing their home search. I mean, once you meet with as many buyers as this meet with, it's like you can kind of get into this rhythm where it can go pretty fast. But, you know, whenever they go under contract, we're having a conversation about the inspections at that point. It's coming again from the transaction managers at that point. You know, I'm letting them know, like, hey, I read over 300 inspections a year. Like, they're all almost the same. I can tell you, they need a TPR valve and there's, you know, a small leak and the toilet's loose and there's mildew in the crawl space and you probably have termites and it's normal, right? But if you got somebody who hasn't bought a house in 20 years, they're gonna freak out. And so we even set our inspections up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I don't want people calling me on Saturday and Sunday. Like, I don't need you freaking out. Like, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything is fixable, right? So if you let them know some of the things that they're going to see up front, then it's not a surprise.
So the one thing we're doing a really good job of is stopping the process and making them come to the office. So that we're having our strategy session up front in person with them before we ever go look at houses. And I mean, you guys are calling me saying, hey, can I show a house tomorrow at 10 o'clock? Yep, you're like, I have 14 to show. I hear from you guys every single weekend, right? It's so painful to be out showing a dozen houses to the same buyer. Well, it's because you haven't asked enough questions. Like, you would narrow down this process really quickly if you would just go ask them, okay, 4 bedrooms, tell me why that's important to you. Well, the first bedroom is my bedroom, right? The second bedroom is Johnny's bedroom, right? The third bedroom is where my mom comes into town. The fourth bedroom, you know, Mike works from home. Oh, well, what I'm hearing is you need 3 bedrooms and an office. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, right? We've changed our search parameters. You know, we're just not asking enough questions up front. And then go out and preview the property, because you can look at it in 2 minutes and it takes them, they're gonna open up every single cabinet door to tell you that they don't like the hill in the driveway, right? It happens to all of us, right? But you could be in and out in 2 seconds if you would just go preview the property before you show it to them. And how valuable to them to get them back their time and be like, guys, you know, this one's next to a huge drainage ditch, and I know you guys don't want that with Johnny, right? Well, this one has a horrible driveway, right? Well, this one only has 1 bedroom on the main level, right? Well, this one smells like cat pee, like, show them all the things that maybe they don't wanna see the property and narrow your 14 down to 2. Right? And look how quickly you could do that instead of giving up your whole weekend.
Well, and it puts you in control. I tell the team this all the time, whenever somebody calls and they say, I wanna see 123 Main Street, and you run and jump and you go and show them. Who's in control?
They are.
You are not in control. And you know what you're doing? You're setting the whole thing up for them being in control. And they will railroad you the entire time.
And it's the same client that calls you at 10 o'clock at night
Yeah,
and gets frustrated when you don't answer the phone. Right?
got to put guardrails on your schedule.
And
Got
not,
to.
so one thing we've been talking a lot on our team about is not being attached to the outcome.
Mhm.
And I think as an industry, we're so concerned, we have commission breath, like we're so concerned to getting the deal closed and we're attached to the outcome, right? But if you know your standards and you live by your standards, and some people will work right inside your world and respect you and be wonderful to work with, and the other ones will weed out, and both are okay, right? But you've gotta set those ground rules in the very beginning, you know, so during our strategy session, we show them, hey, this is when we answer the phone, these are the days we're open, right? We go through all of that stuff so that there's no surprise later. Nobody's ever getting mad that somebody's not answering their phone, because they already know. You know, that there's not a real estate emergency, we're gonna answer the phone for at 10 o'clock at night.
One question for you on that. So do you ever have people who suddenly they see a house and since you won't, they jump to another realtor to go look at it, or?
No.
And it's not that we won't, right?
Right.
You know, if we feel like we're gonna lose the deal if we don't get in the car right now, but we ask them questions and get them to come into the market or into the market center and ask them all their strategy stuff, and then we go show the house, right? If we, you know, we call them show me's, we'll give them one if we feel like we have to give them one, but one is it, you know? We're able to establish enough value over the phone or in front of them that makes them want to come into the office. And you've got to work on those scripts, you gotta know your inventory well enough, right? You gotta know rates, you gotta know objection handlers in order to overcome that and get them to come to the office. But once they come in the office, we tell them like, hey, we want to ask you 100 questions and show you 3 houses, instead of asking you 3 questions to show you 100 houses. Carrie's tagline, right? And that makes a lot of sense to people.
Mhm.
Well, and I mean, I have no problem with telling people like the way that it is, right? You know, I had somebody call me the other day and they were like, well, I was trying to look at property and Carter wasn't available. I mean, is he really that busy? Like, he really can't meet me? And I'm like, yes, he actually had 4 buyers that day. And the first available that he could fit you in was Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's what we scheduled you. But you gotta tell people, because they just think that you're just sitting back, you know,
Wait on the
selling
phone,
sunset or whatever the heck that's. But that's what they think,
Yeah.
right?
Or
We're the
you're a
number.
reliable Chevrolet, no offense to them, but I just mean like just sitting around
You're sitting
waiting on
around.
buyers to walk through, right? No, it's not that, and you gotta tell people that,
Yeah.
right? You gotta show them, and if you're not telling the story, they're gonna fabricate their own story, right?
I said, on stage this past May camp, I said, I'm a professional, not a pleaser. And if you can get into that mindset that I'm a professional and I wanna be treated like a professional, you're not calling your surgeon at 10 o'clock on Saturday. You know, you're calling the emergency room. You're calling the places that need to be going.
That's drastic, right? You're not calling your mechanic. Right, but I mean, seriously, like, you're not calling your dog group, right? I mean, you're not calling anybody else. We as an industry.
That's
Or just-
amazing to think of it that way. We put ourselves below a lot of other.
A lot of other
Dog groomer is really
industry.
good.
The
actually.
dog groomer's a really
Right.
good one.
Yeah.
But we put ourselves below all the other, and we think we have to do that, right? That's not the case at all.
I would say it's because we're so outcome based. We think I've got to get this to sell.
We're chasing, and the customers know it.
Yeah.
They can feel it
Mhm.
and how you're interacting with them, right? And that's why they start to treat you like the help.
Ooh.
Happens, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's true, right?
So we got a few minutes left. What questions do we have either here or online?
From the listing side, what do you do to prepare your sellers for the inspection report? Like,
Absolutely.
what does that look like?
So two things. So we're walking through the house. Like really walking through, not the get to know you walk through, oh my God, that chandelier is amazing. right? We're walking through and like really pointing stuff out. We're talking about the roof. We're talking about calling in the crawl space, right? We've never been in our crawl space. Awesome. Can I go ahead and get Campbell Pest Control out here Monday and have them go ahead and just do a quick check for us, right? We're
Okay.
doing all this while simultaneously getting ready to go on the market, right? You know, the other big thing I do that I think makes a huge difference is when we're negotiating the offer and they say, hey, I'm willing to take 430, right? Okay, awesome. I just want to make certain before we put this in writing, you understand that this is first of two negotiations, right? The next negotiation, you know, will be approximately 1% of the purchase price in repairs. Right? And that's our script we use every time.
It's a good statistic to
Yeah,
know.
and so there's another $4,000, right? That's gonna come out. So you're actually gonna be somewhere around a gross like 426. Okay. Ooh, in that case, let's go back at 432, right? We're having that conversation. And then when Jenna's calling them and there's $2,200 in repairs, they're like, whew, got off easy, right? Because we've managed those expectations up front and it makes that negotiation so much simpler.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard, well, we were selling this house as is? Whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
That's our own fault,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's the agent's fault.
It's the agent's fault because we didn't maintain the expectation up front. And so we're using that before we're ever putting that counteroffer in writing. So that they understand that, hey, we got another percent here. And we use that percent pretty regularly, right? You know, so in their head, they have 4,300. If it comes back 4,700, it's not that painful,
Right.
right? We're only $400 off from what we were expecting. And they're expecting that for 10 days to 2 weeks before they actually find out about it, right? They got a lot of time for this to marinate, that they're gonna be spending that money.
Well, the market was so forgiving once upon a time because there was no inventory.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 2 months supply of inventory right now, and if that keeps continuing, we're switching, right? And so buyers have more options. So the whole like selling as is thing that everybody's doing right now is like,
Well, and you know why they're doing it? Because we don't know how to have a hard conversation. And even if we know how to, we're out of practice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
True.
Right? And so we're just letting them, okay, great, because we just want the listing, right? Back to the commission, Brenda, right?
Yeah.
Your
And-
sellers are out scripting you.
It's like every time. And so we're not giving them enough data for them to make a great decision.
Yeah.
It's our own fault. How many times are you showing the fall through rate to the client ever? It's not happening, right? You're not showing them. You're looking at sold data. Well, they're sure focusing on those ones from last May, right? Because we're not showing them the 90-day window, what's going on. We're not changing our search and switching it to active and showing them everything they're competing with, right? So that they understand. Instead, we're just putting the sign in the yard of praying it sells, right? And it's just not a great strategy and it will come back and bite you. It makes it hard. It makes this industry really frustrating. And it's our own fault,
Right.
right? And nothing I'm telling you guys that needs to be done requires writing a check. It's just slowing the process down, asking more questions, giving more information, right? It's simple. You know, you don't have to have a big agent, be a big agent with a billboard to do it, right? Like, you can be a really amazing fiduciary on this big of a budget.
Other questions?
I have a question on the buyers that are antsy to go out and show. Can you play that out on how you kind of take the tone down to a strategy session rather than just rush out?
Yeah, so I think it's just asking more questions and you're like really, really going through and qualifying them so that you understand, do you even have a pre-approved buyer that you're working with? I think that's like one of the biggest mistakes, right? Is like you go and you show somebody a property, well, with the interest rate, if they don't know what the interest rate in their payment is, you're setting yourself up for failure because it changes everything. And I've actually heard a couple people say that they've gone and shown properties and then they go to a lender and then they realize where they want to be, right? Because it's all about the monthly payment. And so I think it's all about slowing that process down and then just saying, you know, we want you to come in so that we can build a strategy specific around what exactly it is that you are looking for. Because if we can't find the property that's active on the market, then that way it helps me figure out, you know, how I can go find some shadow inventory. And I'm a digger, you guys. I mean, you can ask Bo and Carter. I mean, that's what I'm doing like every single day is I'm calling people and finding properties that aren't on the market. So, I mean, you have to believe that the importance of the strategy session is so that you can like convey that. So, I mean, it's a whole system and it really is important to slow that process down because that way I'm in control, right?
But
For the
go back
contractor
to what you
piece.
said, like they're on the phone and they're calling you on your listing and they're ready to see it right now, right? Well, what had you guys calling on that property, right? Like start just asking some open-ended questions. Oh, our grandma lives in the neighborhood. We just drove by. Awesome. If it's everything you think it's gonna be, are you ready to write an offer today? Oh, well, no, we have a house to sell. Right? Or oh, we haven't even talked to a lender yet. Oh, well, great. When you spoke to your lender, did he go over payments with you? Right? No, we haven't done that yet, right? Oh, well, we'll just go to our bank, right? They just start telling you some things that are very telling. You know, well, no, this actually isn't in our son's school district, but we just really thought the outside was cute, right? They're just gonna start telling you some things that tell you you have permission to slow the process down, right? That if you don't run and show it right now and leave your kid's ball game to go do it, right? How many times have we done that? Just to find out that it was nothing, because we didn't ask enough questions, right? And just some really simple, open-ended questions. Hey, why I'm pulling that information up for you? Had you calling on that property today? Right? Are you really familiar with Brentwood subdivision? Right? Did you know that's in Glendale School District, right? And just starting a conversation with them. And it will lead you to quick answers and will let you know the speed that you need to be working with this client with.
Well, and one more thing, Coach Wayne did this for our team, one day, I can't remember, but you know, how often do you take those phone calls and you just like vomit your listing, right? Oh, it's fantastic. And you're overselling that listing to them. You know, you're telling them about this and the price, da, da, da. Did you get their contact information? Did you get their phone number? Did you get their name? Did you get their email address? Like you're qualifying them, just like he said, but at the same time, you're trying to get their contact information. So how long have you been looking? What agents have you talked to? How have you been getting into properties, right? How many times have we heard, oh, well, I don't want to all of you heard it.
Yep.
I mean, right? So making sure that if we are going to go meet somebody at a property, have we qualified them? Are they an actual buyer?
And then you come to find out that they're working with somebody else, right? And that gives you permission to be like, you know, it's not actually convenient for our seller this afternoon, right? But I could meet you Monday at 10 a.m., right? Because you know the level of that buyer and you know you may not be working with them anyway, right? Or you know that they're not pre-approved or that they have a property to sell, right? And so, you know, asking them, how have you been getting into other property, right? That's a really great one. And it's really telling. And they don't feel like they're giving you any data when they tell you, oh, well, we just always call the listing agent, right? Well, that's a loyalty piece to me, right? That they're not gonna be loyal to us, right? So just slowing the conversation down and asking the questions keeps you in control and it gets you so much information. But we're not ready to, because we're not scripting, right? Like we're not prepared for the phone call. And we're constantly practicing on the public because we're not taking time to sit and script with each other and come up with those scenarios and talk through it so that when it's time for the phone call, it just rattles off the tip of your tongue. So we're not doing it. As an industry, we don't do it. We say we do it, but we don't do it. Right? And then you practice on the public, they outscript you. And then you get stuck in a precarious situation. It's your own fault. So I want to circle back to what we're doing to get ready for the fourth quarter. But talking to more people and extreme expectation management, right? To keep this.
So basically, you're staying with your same game plan you have all year long. It's just
pouring gas on it. Yeah, right? It's just that much more.
all right. Any last thoughts you want to leave with us? Or is that good?
Go ahead, sir.
You guys bring sellers in for a strategy session as well to discuss like what the listing process is gonna be like, or do you handle it all at the house at your listing
We
appointment?
usually handle it all at the house, right? If we've sold it in the past, or if it's something where, you know I don't have to go through it, we'll bring it into the office, but usually I want to go through it. Even if we've sold it before and I'm familiar with it, I'm not familiar with the maintenance issues, I'm not familiar with the wear and tear. I really want my eyes on it. And so, you know, do I have permission to sit with you guys at the kitchen table, right? We're not sitting in the living room, right? We're at the kitchen table where I can sit and share information right in front of them. And sometimes, you guys, I am walking into the appointment with a stack of papers this high. You know, I'm just bringing them tons of information, right? Especially when I think there might be some contention between what I think the price is and what they think it is. I'm pulling out printed comps. I used Wicklow as an example. I'll go back there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm printing off all the other walkout basements that sold. Even though some were $3.99 and some were $7.99, right? With all, some of them have 50 photos, right? And I'm just having them look through them with me, right? And, you know, we're trying to figure out which one's closer to theirs. I'm like, okay, this one's a 2-car garage, right? Or this one's got oak and you guys have painted cabinets, right? Yours is more updated, right? We're really narrowing that down together to try to figure out together what we think their price should be, right? But we're coming to that conclusion together and they're making a great decision because I gave them a ton of data. I wasted a ton of paper, right? But they got buy-in to my number instead of me just showing them or telling them, like showing them the CMA. Because they're like, well, our house, we know that's not, that's Jim's house, isn't it? Right? Oh, they haven't, no, well, let's really look at the photos, right? Let's really look at the information. You know, we're showing them, hey, this is 12 months worth of data on the CMA, so you guys can see it, but I also ran another CMA and I went back 3 months, right? And I also want to show you what the active competition is like right now, right? So they can see if we go on at $699, right? There are 2 with higher square footage that are going to be priced at $550, right? So is it time or money? So these 2 are probably going to sell before you. Adam, I totally understand that, right? It's more important to us to go at the higher price. Okay, we've had a conversation. So when they're calling next week and I'm like, guys, I want to make sure you realize these 2 haven't even sold yet, right? It just makes the conversation a lot easier. They're on the instant notification system. And when one of them drops from 550 to 525, my phone's ringing like that. And a lot of times they know before I do. And they're telling me like, we're gonna have to drop our price, aren't we? Yep. Right? If people aren't calling you saying, hey, we're gonna have to drop our price, you're not giving them enough data. Right? Instead, you're calling them and they're surprised. What? You know? Because they know the house down the street sold in 7 days, last May, last April. Well, you guys, I wish you would have called me in April. You know, it's a different deal right now.
So how many of you know how to set up the auto search in Flex? Okay, if you don't, we'll get with me. We'll show you how to do it. It's really simple. Once you do it a couple
It
times.
takes 10 seconds. You should go to every single listing that you have and set up a search. Right? If you have $1 million home, just send them everything in Greene County over $1 million, just send their way. Right? If it's a farm in Webster County, just do everything between 10 and 20 acres in Webster County, right? You can set up big, broad searches for them. It doesn't have to be super specific or in a small neighborhood. You know, just show them, hey, here's everything else in King Cooper School District between 5 and 550. It'll get them an alert because their house is 525, right? Just something so that you see information dripping to them. It comes branded to you. You get a notification when they open it, costs you nothing, right? It's an excuse to call. I saw you open up that house on Main Street. Right? It was a really good one. I expect to sell it, that one will sell this weekend because it's priced so aggressively.
Awesome.
Right? They just want data. They want information.
They will know you're thinking of them. You haven't just put them in the system and let go. Awesome. Any last questions? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. I know this is a valuable part of the day for you all. Finish with our last slide. Now, what are your action items? So think about what you need to do to get in these situations. Auto search will be the first thing. That's probably the best thing because I love this new line we added. Knowledge without inflammation is just entertainment. So if you just sat here and were entertained, I'm glad you were, but let's use it to your advantage also. Then next week, we're back to Tuesdays. Start time is 9:27. Breakfast next week for the first 35 people. So get here early or go hungry. All right. Thank you all in the internet world. Thank you all here. Thanks to Adam and Carrie. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Nicole, has the recording stopped?
Thanks for being awesome. And so we released some new.
Shanna is our productivity. She is upstairs. I can go introduce you.
Do you want something pretty specific? So I would just keep that house here. You've done everything.
Let me go say hi to them.